In the hospital, when doctor was telling Miss Kim about Mr. Kim's condition, Jungkook's secretary was standing there, whom Jungkook's grandpa had gave the responsibility for finding a good, beautiful boy who would remain in Jungkook's marriage until he gave him a baby. After hearing this thing, the secretary got all the information out which it was found out that Mr. Kim had two children, out of which the elder son, who was 17-year-old, was very beautiful and young. At that time, no one felt more helpless at death. And then, her because she didn't even have the money for Mr. Kim's treatment, there was not great golden opportunity that the president her deal in front of him in this situation. And then secretary who could come and put the deal in front of them, Miss Kim eye light up, and she immediately agreed that what had happened when they blackmailed him and to force him to support them. But it wasn't that easy. Miss Kim had lied to Tae that Jungkook would marry him and support him and also get his father treated, to which they silently agreed. All the way Taehyung was in a strange dilemma, continuously thinking and remembering his father, who his mother had not even let him see. "Can you guys let me see my father for once?" they asked in a trembling voice to those who were sitting in front of him like a machines. When one of them would phone start ringing, the man picked up the phone and said on the other end that Seungter wanted to meet his father, on which I didn't know what was he said from the other side. Those people turned the car toward the hospital. Seeing his father in the condition, Taehyung burst into tears. "Appa, please forgive me. I'm going to get married without your permission. I'm forced. Appa, don't be angry with me." Saying this, he bent down and kissed his head and left. After walking from the hospital, the car stopped in front of a big, beautiful mansion. When Taehyung got out of the car, and the man said Taehyung to go inside, the nervous moved forward and entered the beautiful mansion, where they suddenly realized that he's alone there. Then a girl had come there and give him a contract paper and tell him to read the paper before getting married, which they signed without reading it. They gave him the paper and start looking at him, who quietly goes back. It took a while for girl to come back. When Taehyung saw man's coming behind her, he understood that marriage ceremony began, and then he bowed his head. They had no one his own hair, his relatives in the whole world was his father, but even he would not hear in such a big decision of his son. And that time, as soon as this thought came, the eyes started again watering. A voice echoed near his ear. "Taehyung, son of Mr. Kim, do you accept the marriage of John Jungkook, son of Mr. John?" Taehyung's delicate hand was trembling, his heart was pounding, and he said in a low voice, "Yes, I accept it." All he had heard when that people stood up and straight and left. Just then the same girl stepped forward and picked up Taehyung and brought him to his room. The room was very decorated beautifully due to the silent darkness in the room. He walked straight and sat down on the side of the bed. Lost in a thought, they heard someone's voice coming from outside the door, which made him panic and start adjusting his dress. At the moment, they looked very beautiful in light makeup, even though they was nervous. When someone opened the door and came in, John Jungkook stood there for a while, watching him, and took off his coat and placed it on the sofa. Since it was dark, he couldn't see properly. He walked in and slowly sat down on the bed. Taehyung, who was trembling at the presence of the man he had never seen or even heard, thought he would say something to Tae now, but then in the darkness Jungkook held Taehyung's soft hand. They felt as he would stop breathing, and Jungkook held his hand and started feeling it. They had not even been able to control himself when he felt someone's hand on his cheeks. He was carrying his soft cheeks. The way he was touching him seems that he was not a stranger to him. Taehyung trembling with his eyes tightly closed in the heat of his closeness. When Jungkook came very close to Tae, he began to kiss him as he removed her dress from Tae's shoulder. Taehyung, cold, trembling, being filled with the fear and a strong arm, he began to spread his warm breath on Tae being. Jungkook's intensity started to increase with love. They had accepted this moment. This was the love, and the first time when Jungkook felt any emotion as he was living these moments. There was a melting that stone heart of Jungkook. Jungkook had forget at that time that the boy had become his bride for only one night, and per imagined contract, he was completely and trying to. His lips were paying the beauty by kissing him gently, and they were shyly hiding and seeking shelter in his arm. The night slowly turned into day. They were sleeping, wrapping in a white sheets. When the sunlight disturbed him, his sleep was broken. They began to remember every single incident of the night as they saw himself in this state. Then they woke up and just sat when her eyes fell on the beautiful woman sitting quietly. But it compared to they, she was nothing compared to Taehyung, the woman who was staring angrily at Taehyung, with whose permission they had become Jungkook's wife today, and was sitting in a state where they had already obtained Jungkook before her. The mark on Taehyung's shoulder and neck were proof of how much Jungkook had embraced him. Sana's eyes never left Taehyung when she started thinking, "What have I done? How did I let my Jungkook belong to someone else?" Taehyung hiding himself well in the comforter, and the mix of fear and shame. "Who are you? And where is Jungkook?" Sana's tempo was already high. Hearing Jungkook's name from Taehyung, her anger crossed the limit. She quickly got up and come to Taehyung and slapped him hard on his delicate small cheek. Their conscience was lost when he placed his hand on his cheeks. They began to wonder where and what just had happened. They was now standing on the bed, wrapping in a sheet. "Taehyung, is that your name, right? This slaps was to wake you up from the dream you were having with Jungkook. Listen carefully. It was just a one night. It would be good for you to get pregnant at once. You have just come close to Jungkook only because your contract for which your mother had already taken a huge amount. Now, let me just tell you that I am John Jungkook, real wife. So never forget your status. And after today, if Jungkook's name come on your tongue again, there will be no one worse than me." When Sarah Ward was some doomsday that had broken out on Taehyung, they was listening to him with his mind that was spinning. What what was she saying? What are you saying? One night stand, pregnant, Jungkook first wife. What are you saying? I don't understand anything, they said softly, wiping away the tears. Well, if you're becoming so thoughtful, if you don't know anything, you were brought here for surrogacy. This marriage is over as soon as you have children. This word, as son of Venom's John, Taehyung heard that Taehyung took the spot of the wall in a bad mood. Such a big lie. Sana laughed at that moment. Why didn't your so-called mother tell you that you would marry Jungkook and leave after giving birth to his daughter? The price of which that woman had taken, she said, mocking, seeing the baby face. Don't be under the illusion that you will become rich overnight by Jungkook, because this is how you were trained in your families, right?